The crossroads is a symbol in African American culture. One part is it representing the intersection of different traditions, styles, and influences. The crossroads also has a spiritual meaning, as it is the place where one can communicate with the spirit world or make a deal with the devil. This influence was brought into popular culture by blues musician Robert Johnson, who not only blended different musical traditions, laying the groundwork for modern rock and other genres, but also brought in a mystical element of going to the crossroads to strike a deal with the devil. In his 1936 song, Crossroad Blues, the scene he sets is one of him recovering from cutting his deal, hoping for some mercy. He also had other songs out of the few he recorded that alluded to this deal: Hellhound on My Trail, Up Jumped the Devil, and Me and the Devil Blues. Johnson's legend of selling his soul for musical talent grew because people who knew him thought that he had no innate musical talent. But, when he returned to the same juke joint after being away a while, he amazed the crowd with his abilities. Some people claim that there's a mundane reason for this and the deal at the crossroads is just a made-up story to impress women. They'll say that he got lessons from Ike Zimmerman. The two men would practice in a graveyard for privacy and protection against those who would be out to harm a black man in those days. But, certainly, the graveyard connection contributed to the legend. And, Johnson's sudden improvement does raise questions, especially for those who try to copy his guitar style. Maybe it's just strong dedication to improving one's skill at the instrument, or, maybe, something else. Another bluesman who supposedly went to the crossroads was Tommy Johnson. He wasn't related to Robert. His part of the crossroads legend is his description of the encounter with the devil at midnight. In his story, one would go to the crossroads and play their guitar. At midnight, the devil would show up, take the player's guitar, tune it, play it and hand it back. Then the player would be able to play anything they wanted. Unlike Robert, who died at the now legendary age of 27, Tommy lived well into his 60s. Perhaps the 27 curse doesn't apply across the board. Many other bluesmen have mentioned the mystical crossroads in songs they've written. Others have covered Robert Johnson's songs, in whole or part. The legend of the crossroads has become ingrained in musical culture. What is the story behind the legend? As with many things in the American South, it's a blend of both European and African traditions. On the European side, there's the story of Faust, who sold his soul to gain riches and power, only to forfeit it all in the end. In real life, magic circles were drawn at crossroads for various rituals. Burial at a crossroads was used for those who could not be buried on consecrated ground. Before that, it goes back to ancient Greece where people would leave offerings to the goddess Hecate at the crossroads. This was done to gain favor and protection of the goddess, who was often connected with the afterlife. On the African side, the crossroads represents the cosmogram, sometimes called the Yova cross, that symbolizes the cycle of death and rebirth, a connection between the living and ancestors. Many African tribes had traditions of leaving offerings at a crossroads for spirits that might pass, either to honor them or to guide them. During slavery, many African traditions were lost or blended together. One that did survive was the importance of the crossroad as a means of communication with the spirit world and that some type of messenger spirit was needed to handle this communication. These beliefs are carried on in various hoodoo traditions, such as herbal medicines and the famous mojo bag. We will explore some of these traditions and talismans in an upcoming episode, so please subscribe to our channel to find out when. So, in our modern world, should you go down to the crossroads to strike a deal? Would you?